Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and we just finished reading The Morning After by Lisa Jackson. You can hear the puppy, excuse her, she has a lot of energy. This cool weather has really gotten her excited. But I have a lot of thoughts on this book. I'll get into them in just a second. As a reminder, though, we are going to be reading Pure Joy starting today. This is a nonfiction book, so it gets you participating in Nonfiction November if you want to join me as I read this. And it basically just talks about the different dogs in Danielle Steele's life. Really excited to read another book by her, and I love dogs, so really excited for that as well. And we also, next week, we are going to be reading The Angel's Command by Brian Jacquez. I introduced this in this past Monday's video. We always do our book of the month discussions. Every Monday, I go ahead and introduce the next weekly read in those videos, so that way if you want to participate and you need a physical copy like I do, you do have some time. So if you want to know a little bit more about what this one's about, check out Monday's video. But really excited to jump into this one. It has a Labrador in it, which I'm very partial to my labs. Don't tell Nini's that. She's laying behind me right now, all cozy. But very partial to my labs. And I read him before. My husband has like a little collection of the Redwall series by him. And I really did enjoy the book I read by him. We're eventually going to cover those books in our series Saturday. We always do cover different series on Saturdays. Right now we're working our way through the Dresden Files series, and I'm not sure which series I'm going to do after that, but that might be one that's up for grabs for sure. So yeah, really excited to jump into this one. We also do a Throwback Thursday where we cover different childhood books, some of my favorites right now, the ones I still have on my shelf, and then eventually that's going to kind of turn into more of a kids corner. And bonus videos come out frequently, so if you're not already, please subscribe, hit the bell notification, and then give this video a like while you're at it. The more engagement you guys do, the better chances of this channel kind of growing. So anything you can do to help me out would be great. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about The Morning After. So I really did not like this book when I first started it. Really struggled to kind of get into it. The story itself, the premise of it is good. It is basically these women are being buried alive, and there's kind of a connection. He kind of calls out one of the detectives, and then there's also a reporter that's connected to it as well. And so they're trying to catch this guy and figure out who it is and all that good stuff, like what's happening, who it is. And basically he's burying women alive, but he's burying them with other bodies that are already dead. And so it's kind of disturbing and perfect for the spooky season. This was the last one in our spooky season lineup, and it was kind of funny. I was reading it as I was playing Dead by Daylight. I absolutely love that game, and I like to read, why it's loading and everything, because it does take a little while on that game to load and everything. And so I was just like between this book and playing that game, like I was just all like on edge, but yeah, just didn't really enjoy it. Had a hard time kind of getting into it, even though the premise of it was pretty good. I don't think the characters were very well done, and she didn't paint a very vivid like landscape or anything like that. So it was you're kind of detached from it. And it wasn't until the end where I thought the characters kind of had more depth to them, I guess. And that's when I started to enjoy it, and the case kind of everything started coming together, so you're more invested in the case, and then you're more invested in these characters, because in the beginning it was like, I would compare it to like acquaintances and friends. Your friends you have a connection to, them, where your acquaintances you might know a little bit and you might know things about their life, but you're really not connected to them. That's kind of how I felt about these characters. It was very surface knowledge, and there was just no connection. And it wasn't until the two main characters started connecting to each other that you kind of connected to them a little bit more because you really started to see their actual personalities through like the eyes of the other person, because it does kind of go back and forth between the different viewpoints. And so that's when you really started to get a sense of who these characters were, and that's when I started enjoying it more. It depends on the story. Like one story I'm reading right now, I don't necessarily like the characters, but I do enjoy the story itself. And so, it varies for me. Sometimes I'm more character based, sometimes I'm more story driven. And in this one, both of those kind of fell short. So I really struggled to kind of get into it and enjoy it. I never have DNF'd a book on purpose. I don't think I ever will, because even if I'm not enjoying it, I still want to know, how it ends. And I'll always wonder. I've DNF'd books like not on purpose, where I just kind of set it down planning to come back to it, and then I just go through, this lull in reading, and then I'm never picking it back up. And then when I decide to read again, it's like, okay, what am I reading? And I have to reread it, or things like that, or I just jump into another book that caught my attention. We're now doing this channel, I am reading, and so it does help, kind of push me through and make sure I do finish these books. But overall, I say it's kind of middle of the road book. I didn't hate it, but it's definitely not one I'm gonna keep on my shelf or probably ever read again. Just because it was, like I said, it kind of fell short as far as the story and then the characters as well. Even though like the premise, like I said, it was good. It was good for spooky season. Like I said, it kind of gives you the heebies a little bit. But yeah, I think overall, I say if you kind of like more crime, like thriller type books, it's not worth the read. I wouldn't buy it, but if you can, pick it up secondhand or rent it from the library or something like that, I say it's good enough for that. And I did, like I said, I did enjoy the ending. And it was kind of frustrating because the author gives you clues, kind of foreshadows throughout, and I knew who the killer was before the characters did, which I don't think is necessarily all that uncommon. But it was kind of getting frustrating because the characters, kept saying that things didn't add up, but they refused to look at any other options. Where, in some of the other books that I've enjoyed in the past, they might, you know, really focus on a suspect, but they do, kind of bring other options to light. And in this case, the characters never, well, no, it can't be anybody else, it has to be him. So they never really looked at the other options, which was really frustrating, even though they did bring up multiple times that there was something not quite right, that didn't quite add up. So that was a little frustrating as well. And like I said, way early on, just based on the clues that the author gives you, who it is when the characters don't. And so that was really, really frustrating. Like, I would have liked that mystery, if the characters weren't going to know, for us not to know as well. Like maybe a few clues foreshadowing, but not quite as obvious. I think I would have enjoyed the mystery a little bit more if that had been the case. But overall, like I said, kind of middle of the road book, and definitely not going to be keeping it on my shelf, even though I did end up enjoying the ending and everything like that. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here on that. Wish I had enjoyed it more. And then don't forget, we are going to be reading Pure Joy by Danielle Still this week. And you can find my thoughts on this next Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and leave you here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.